Now, if you're struggling with self sabotage and you don't know where to start, here, right here on this podcast, we're building the community. I want to remind you, breaking self sabotage patterns takes time. You've been operating like this for years, every decade, like I was. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small wins. We're building the community of people committed to breaking these cycles. So Pelt and Storm is not with us today. She is out sick. So I want everybody to at least wish Storm well. She is under the weather, and I'm hoping that all the best for her, and I hope that she gets better ASAP as soon as possible because she's a wonderful host, co-host, and I need her for the show. So, Storm, if you hear me, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything that you've done for the show so far, and thank you for being my co-host. And I want to say that personally on live so everybody can know that I'm thanking for helping me with this platform. Um, Today, since I'm going solo, I have a really special treat for you survivors today. Um, Hello, Miss House. I see you are on Facebook, and I do see your comment, and I welcome you to the show. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Um, Today is season 2, episode 7. Thank you, God, is blessing us to keep this going. Before I go any further, uh, help support the show by buying merchandise from Health Emporium. You can go on over to www.peltsemporium.com and purchase merchandise on there. Everything except for Crystal's Corner. Proceeds go straight to help fund this platform, to help keeping the conversations going, to help keeping the community viable, to help keep the healing flowing. So we want to keep this going. We want this to be a continuous thing. We don't want this to just be a one-time thing or a one season thing or whatever. We want to keep this going. Um, Hello. How you doing, Miss Penny? Welcome. Appreciate you for showing up. Dare to Triumph is a platform for people who are victimized as children, childhood trauma, having childhood trauma from those experiences, and growing on into adult life, not dealing with those traumas, and they're affecting their adult lives. This is not just for adults, though. However, you can use the information that we share and give it out to people who need it. If you notice at the bottom of the screen, there's like a little ticker tape thing down there that's giving out a whole bunch of information. Hotlines, national hotlines you can call for different things, people in crisis, people who have been domestically abused, sexually abused, human trafficked. If you're trying to escape your situation, you can call these numbers 24/7. They are nationwide numbers. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 988. So you can look down there and get these numbers to help you and your loved ones uh, deal with, cope, and survive any kind of trauma that you may be having. This show is dedicated to helping survivors. I myself am a survivor, and so is my co-host, Storm. Uh, and it's my drive and my goal to bring helpful information to those of us who are struggling with guilt, fear, and shame. You don't have to. You're not alone anymore. I'm 54 years old, and when I was a little young person, I was going through it, but I didn't have anybody to help me. There was no social media back then. There was no internet back then like this, where I could talk to somebody directly and say, hey, I need help. There was nobody like that back then. There was no platform like that back then. But now, me seeking therapy and my therapist telling me it's a lot of people out there who are suffering, it gave me the idea that I need to reach out to these people. I need to let them know that, hey, there is somebody out here who wants to help you. And if you need a first step before going to see a therapist, let this be the first step. It's non-intrusive, non-invasive. I'm not asking you any questions. All I want you to do is get information. If you choose, you want to talk about your situation, you choose to share. I'm not trying to stop you, but you don't have to. There's no pressure whatsoever. This is a safe, comfortable, threat-free zone. You don't have no judgment here. Okay. Now, going on to the topic of the show. First of all, was there any questions? I didn't want to miss anybody. If somebody was asking questions, I don't see any. So I will continue with the show. Okay, today's show is Survivor to Survivor. How to connect without triggering each other. I'm talking about you and me. We're two survivors of childhood trauma. We're trying not to trigger each other. How do we connect and talk to each other without causing each other flashbacks or emotional distress? That's what this show is about today. Okay, Miss Michelle, I see you. Not at this time. That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, it's no pressure. You don't have to worry about trying to force yourself to ask a question or anything like that. This show is not about that. If you feel like you want to ask, then by all means ask. There will be no judgment coming from me. And I would behoove everyone who comes on the show as a guest or as a visitor to respect the show. Because of the nature of this show, I don't want any kind of tomfoolery up in here. I will get rid of you really fast. And because of the nature of people trying to open up and receive help on this show, I will bring law enforcement into this show. You will be prosecuted. I just wanted that to resonate for a second. I'm not playing. So, for anybody who has any thoughts or intentions of coming here trying to be funny, you will be prosecuted. You will receive the fullest extent of whatever judgment uh, the system can give you on this platform, because it's not for that at all. Okay. With that being said, let me go forward. So, I welcome everybody to Terror to Triumph. Uh, again, my name is Alfonso Pelt. Today, of course, I'm going solo. We're live on Terror to Triumph. This is Terror to Triumph. Facebook and YouTube. You can ask questions. You could type in your questions to ask me anything. Tuesdays, 10:30 a.m. is our normal Q&A time, Q&A, but I want to make this more personal. I want to make this forum, this community more interactive. I want you to be able to be more involved. So I'm opening up even the Saturdays to questions, because I don't want you to have to wait a whole week if you got a question and you even forgot your question, buddy. Life goes on. So you can come and ask me now. Honestly, I've been thinking about some other things, changing up the show. a little bit more, but I'm gonna just leave that right there. I'm gonna make a comment at the end when I finish up. And then if you guys have questions about what I say at the end concerning changing the format of the show, let me know. Let me know what you think. And if you're downloading the show and you're not actively here right now, I want you to send me a comment. Go to YouTube, our channel, Terror to Triumph Live, and leave a comment there. Let me know what you think about how I should alter or remain the same, because there's some things I've been seeing and I'm thinking I'm trying to make it more digestible to the viewers. So, okay, moving on. Excuse me. Today we're talking about something real, survivor. No, excuse me, survivor to survivor. Okay, these are interactions survivors will have with other survivors or may have with other survivors. So here's the thing: we don't always know who's a survivor, do we? I mean, if I was sitting across from you at a table at a restaurant or something, or at a different table, you wouldn't know if I was a survivor or not. So it could be your coworker, it could be your friend, it could be your neighbor, the person sitting right next to you at the coffee shop. So they could be carrying their trauma with them as much as I am, or even not even having sought help. They could be carrying their trauma with them. So neither of you can pinpoint that you were dealing with trauma or you're dealing with trauma. Nobody knows. So nobody's going around saying, "Hey, are you a trauma survivor?" Are you just randomly asking people? Nobody does that. So you won't know. So what happens when two survivors interact? How do you navigate that? How do you avoid triggering each other? And how do you connect authentically? That's what we're getting into today. So let's go. All right. First, let's acknowledge this. Trauma is invisible. Invisible. Can't see it. It's not something you can see with the naked eye. It's not. So you can look at someone and know they've been through hell, but you can't see their nightmares. You can't see their triggers. You can't see their nervous system is in constant alert mode. Me. Okay. Um, so when two survivors meet, they're often unaware of each other's wounds. A survivor might seem fine on the outside, but they're falling apart on the inside. Me. Okay. They might laugh and joke with you while carrying their deep pain. Me. Again, me. They might be friendly and outgoing while they feel disconnected at the same time. Me. That's me. They might seem confident while battling shame. I'm guilty. They might appear successful while struggling with self-sabotage. I got all that. All that what I just listed. That's me. So I'm like, this thing is talking about me because I am a survivor and I am dealing with the trauma still. So that is what's up. We talking the truth here on this show. We're not pulling no punches. I'm not telling you no lies. I'm telling you everything. If you ask me, I'm an open book. I will tell you everything. You've been through this too, Miss Michelle. Okay. See, this is why we do this show. We do it because it's information we otherwise would not be privy to. We wouldn't even be talking about this in a regular conversation. We wouldn't even know to talk about it. So I'm digging up stuff to bring to you live twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Trying to get everybody educated, you know. Even the survivors, even the non-survivors, trying to get them educated. Who's around you? You know what I'm saying? How come your interactions aren't going as smoothly as you think? Well, they seem kind of off. Yeah, they might be dealing with something. You got to think about this stuff. See, we need to be more aware, and that's why these conversations are so important. Okay, let's move on. Okay, if you're also a survivor, like I am, you might not recognize the signs. So you might think they're just having a bad day. I just said that. Didn't I just say that? Okay, they seem a little off. Yeah. You might not realize they're drowning. Okay. But this is what's important. When two survivors interact without knowing each other's traumas, there's the potential for both connection and burn. Okay. So the connection, because you understand each other on a deeper level without even knowing it. That's the good part. The bad part, because you might accidentally trigger each other without realizing what's happening. And that's the bad part. So we're getting into this today. Let me paint some scenarios, okay? These are real interactions between survivors who can't know about each other's trauma. Scenario one, excuse me, I'm still getting over a cold. I apologize for the sniffles. Um, but the work continues, right? I don't, this not stop. I'm not stopping. Okay. You guys are way too important for me to stop for my own illness. Okay. Anyway, one survivor is quiet. They're not engaging as much. They're listening, but they're not talking. Another survivor might interpret this as they don't like me, or maybe I've said something wrong. They must be judging. I should just leave them alone. Bro, I don't even know what to say. This is now I dug this information up to tell y'all, but I feel like I'm on the examining table as I'm telling you this stuff because it's all talking about my situations, right? When I deal with people, this is what I go through. I'm not making this up. This is what I go through. And today, honestly, I've been running. I've been trying to get my stuff together. I'm trying to get the information together. I rushed this through. I didn't proofread anything. I just threw it together and bam, I put it out here. I'm like, I hope this fits together for the format of the show and I could come off clean. And this is what it's saying. I'm reading this to you. I didn't really pay attention to what it was. Bro, I'm telling y'all, this is deep. This is deep. Well, anyway, let me continue. Sorry. The quiet person isn't withdrawn because of the other person. They're withdrawn because their nervous system is dysregulated. They're protecting themselves. And the other survivor who might have abandonment trauma gets triggered. They start pulling away. They create distance, and now both people feel rejected, even when they weren't rejected initially from each other at all. So, okay, that was the first scenario. Scenario two, wait a minute. Let me ask y'all first. In scenario one, has anybody experienced scenario one in their personal lives? Because I have. I've been in communication with somebody. I was talking to somebody who I was interested in. At least I was trying to when I'm talking to them. And they seemed quiet. They weren't interacting much. And I'm like, dang, why ain't they saying nothing? Do I smell them? Trying to smell myself? I'm like, do I stink? You know, I just have my teeth straightened out. I know my breath don't stink. What's going on? Why they acting like that? In my mind, I'm not. It's not making a connection. So I'm saying, well, maybe they ain't feeling me. Maybe I'm not they type. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm too overweight for them. Maybe I'm too old for them. And I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell they seem kind of off, put off. They're not really engaging, which means if I'm not engaging, I'm not gonna, you know, keep engaging if you're not responding because it seems like you're not engaging to tell me without telling me that you don't want to talk to me. That's what the scenario is. Both people, both people are survivors. Both people have trauma present in their lives and they're not interacting normally because both people's trauma is causing them to think in a inappropriate way concerning how to engage another person. So I seen this house. You said you had this happen to you. Okay, so we see this is a real thing. This is not this is not something this is made up for movies or something. This is actually something that's happening in the survivor community. This happens. Okay, you know what? I'm supposed to put the trigger to show the comments on the stage. I'm sorry. So the rest of the people can see, hey, there's engagement here. Oh, my bad, y'all. I didn't put it up there. So, okay, here's the second scenario. Second scenario. And I'm almost out of time already. The second scenario says the intense emotional reaction. So the second scenario says one survivor has a strong emotional reacting action to something small. They get angry, upset, or sad. Okay. Another survivor might think, wow, that was a lot, that was intense. I need to be careful around this person. But what they don't realize is the intense reaction is a trauma response. It's not about them. And now the first survivor feels judged. They feel that they have to hide their emotions and they shut down. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. Okay. Um, I don't know if I exhibited that one, but I definitely felt that from someone else. That one. I felt that one happen from someone else to me. Like I was talking to somebody and they this seemed like they got really sad all of a sudden. And I was like, is something wrong? I kept asking them, is something wrong? And they wouldn't say anything. So, I didn't know how to take it. So I started like, okay, maybe whatever it is, they don't want to talk about it right now. So I'll try to change the subject, but changing the subject when somebody's emotional doesn't really work. So I start to say, well, maybe I should just talk to you later because right now I ask you if something's wrong, you don't want to respond, but you're emotional, obviously, but you're not interacting, and I don't want to be a a butthole. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come off rude. Like if you can't talk to me, blah blah blah. If you can't, I don't want to do that. If you're a person, you have an emotional situation happening, so I want to be considerate of your emotions. So I want to give you space. So I'll back off. You might think I'm judging you because I said, okay, I'm gonna back off and give you space. But you might feel like, oh, he don't want to deal with me now because I had this outbreak. So now I'm just gonna hide everything from him. Don't that sound familiar? Survivors. Tell me we ain't been through this stuff. Okay, here's another scenario for you. One survivor is constantly trying to make everybody happy. That's me. They're saying yes to everything. They're sacrificing their own needs. That's me. That's all me. Another survivor might take advantage of that without realizing it. They might ask for more and more, not understanding that the people pleaser is drowning. And I've seen that happen too, to me. So now that makes me think, okay, so that person that was doing that also had some trauma happen to them. And they didn't know that I was a victim too. Anyway, or the people pleaser might start resenting the other person for taking advantage of them when they really never set a boundary in the first place. Okay, then you have another one, another scenario. One survivor learned to set firm boundaries. They say no, they protect their energy. Another survivor might interpret this as coldness and rejection. They might think they don't want to be my friend, they're being mean. I'm laughing because this became me. Eventually, after being so nice and everything, I started setting boundaries. And when people started coming up and saying they want this, they want me to do this, and I started saying no, they were like, "Oh, you mean you stingy? You this, you did that." I didn't get that. So now I'm wondering, like, okay, so you feel I'm stingy because I'm protecting myself, or I'm being mean? And it goes further, it says the boundary setter is protecting themselves. They're not rejecting the other person, but they're protecting their own healing. So the other survivor is looking at it as rejection. Okay. So they got trauma that they're dealing with. Here's another one. And the last one. One survivor avoids conflict at all costs. That's me. That's me. 100%. They go silent. They disappear. That's me. That is me, hands down. Another survivor who might have abandonment trauma gets triggered. They think they're being rejected. They panic. They might chase or push harder. Wow. And I've had that happen to me too. There's a gnat in the studio. So that's why I'm swinging. Um, so the avoider gets more triggered by the intensity and withdraws further. Now both people are hurt and neither one knows why. Okay, so here's what happens when two survivors interact and accidentally trigger each other. It escalates because each person's trauma response triggers the other person's trauma response. Let me give you an example. Survivor A has abandonment trauma. They need reassurance. They need to know people won't leave them. Okay. Survivor B has intimacy trauma. They need space. They need independence. They get uncomfortable with too much closeness. So Survivor A reaches out for connection. They want to spend time together. They want reassurance, but Survivor B feels suffocated. They pull away. They need more space. Survivor A interprets this as rejection and panics. They push harder and they might get angry or desperate. Survivor B feels controlled. So they pull away even more. Now both people are triggered. Both people are in survival mode and the conflict escalates. Okay. So neither one realizes, oh, we're both survivors. We're both in pain. We're both trying to protect ourselves. Instead, they think this person is hurting me. This person is the problem. So this is why survivor to survivors relationships can be complicated. You're both carrying wounds. You're both in protective mode. If you don't understand that about each other, can hurt each other without needing to. So, how do you interact authentically? How do you navigate this? How do you interact with another survivor, especially if you don't know if they're a survivor? Okay. First, assume everyone is carrying something. All right. That's the safe bet. You don't know what someone's been through. We should all be thinking this anyway. You don't know what triggers they have. You don't know what their nervous system needs. So approach people with curiosity and compassion, okay? Instead of judgment. And we are some judgmental people, aren't we? You will abandon the relationship. Okay, yeah, that was me. And you like staying isolated, you feel smoother with too much, what does that say? It's got this money symbol sitting right on. You like staying isolated, you feel smoother with too much closeness. Oh, you mean you feel better without having too much closeness. I got you. I got you. So if someone seems withdrawn, don't assume rather that they don't like you. Assume that they might be struggling. If someone has an intense emotional reaction, don't assume they're overreacting. Assume they might be triggered. Okay. If someone sets a boundary, don't assume they're rejecting you. Assume they're protecting themselves. Don't hide your triggers. Don't pretend you're fine when you're not. You can say things like, I'm having a hard day. I just need some space. Or you can say, I get triggered when people raise their voice. Can we talk about this differently? That's me. You know, uh, you can say, I need reassurance sometimes. Is that okay with you? Smothered. Oh, you feel smothered with too much closeness. I got you. I got you. So you can also say, I'm not good with sudden changes. Can we plan ahead? So it's a lot of different ways you can try to unlock some of the things that would bind you up, you know, between survivors trying to interact. When you're honest, you give the other person information. You help them understand you and you create space for them to be honest too. Third, ask questions instead of assuming. Know what they say about assuming, right? So if someone seems off, ask if you are okay. Is there something you need? Is it something I said? If someone pulls away, ask. I feel like you're being distant, you know? Did I do something? If someone reacts strongly, ask. That seemed like a big decision. What's going on? Questions create dialogue, okay? They create understanding. They prevent misinterpretation. So you have to open your mouth. You have to be honest with the person. If you care about somebody, create a dialogue. Be honest. Talk about it. Communicate your boundaries clearly. Don't expect people to read your mind. And I've heard this so many times. If a man can't tell, you need to stop right there. No man can read anybody's mind. We can guess, but that don't mean we can read your mind. My man knows what I need. Or maybe your man really had time to really learn you. So, you know, if he had a chance and the time and opportunity to learn you, yeah, he could know. But just not knowing a person and just coming up to him and you have these expectations, expecting someone to follow suit when they don't know you, that's not fair. Ladies, gentlemen, because both sides of the gate are guilty of this same circumstance, excuse me. So, um, don't get angry when they cross a boundary you never told them about. Okay, I'm gonna say that for the people in the back again. Don't get angry when a person crosses a boundary, your boundary, that you never told them about. Yeah, they might have crossed the boundary, but if you didn't tell them, how they supposed to know? That's why we in a relationship supposed to communicate, get these things out in the open, to talk about them and get the conversation going so we can know what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. How else we gonna interact without interacting? We're gonna look real stupid getting angry at each other all the time. But people end up getting in relationships like that without communication. So anyway, let's go forward. You can say things like, I need you to text before you call. That's fair. That's a boundary. You know, don't just call me. You don't know what I'm doing. I could be busy doing something. I could be in a meeting or anything. Don't just buzz my phone. Text me. That's fair. I can't handle last minute plans. Somebody has a really structured life, and to meet up with somebody who likes to free will it all the time, you know, that could be an issue. So setting a boundary like, let's structure some stuff. That's fair. If they tell you that in advance, that's fair. I need alone time to recharge. That's fair. That's fair. I don't like being touched without permission. That's fair. That's really fair. With survivor victims, that's super fair. So create the boundaries, but you got to be clear about it. Lastly, don't take things personally, okay? Well, not lastly. I've actually run out of time on the show today. I'm over my time expenditure. Um, but I want to try to finish this out. I'm not far from the end. Well, yeah, I am kind of ways away, but I think I could finish this in the next 3 minutes. So I'm gonna hurry up and try to get through this. All right. So let me um let me try to hurry up and get through this. So when you don't take your things personally, right? You if someone's withdrawn, it's probably not about you. So don't assume that it is. If a person needs space, it's not because they don't like you. It's probably not because they don't like you. So if a person has a strong reaction, it's probably triggered by their own stuff, not by you. Or maybe something around them triggered them or something, but you gotta really talk on it. This is the big thing. Because when you stop talking or stop taking rather, when you stop taking things personally, you can respond with compassion instead of defensiveness. If you sense someone else might be a survivor, you can share your own experiences if you feel safe to do so. Because sometimes you can share your stuff and people will use it. They'll go tell everybody about your experiences. They won't honor you about your experiences and they might blow you off. So you got to make sure that this person is a trustworthy person to talk to. So if you sense someone else might be a survivor, then you can share your own experiences. If you could trust them, you could say, I've been through some trauma and I'm working on healing, and I'm wondering if you have too. This opens the door, it creates the connection, and it helps both of you. It helps you understand each other a little bit better, you know. But only do this, like I said, if you feel safe, if you trust the person. If you're a survivor interacting with other survivors, whether they Whether they're survivors or not, you have an opportunity to create safety. Be patient. Healing is non-linear. People have good days, people have bad days. Be patient with that. If some person shares their hard feelings, something really deep with them, don't minimize it, okay? Don't say it could be worse. Say things like, dang, that sounded really hard to deal with, but I believe you. Be consistent, show up, be reliable, follow through on your commitments. Consistency builds trust. Don't pretend you have it all figured out. Share your own journey. Let people know your humanity. Be willing to apologize. Hello. Some people have a hard time saying, I'm sorry, or it was my fault, I was wrong. People have a hard time saying that, especially nowadays. I don't know what it is, but everybody wants to be right. And if they're wrong, they don't want to say, oops, my bad. I'm sorry, I didn't know, blah, 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 whatever the case. They don't want to say, I'm sorry. They just want to just sit there like, "Hmm, well, it could have been." People, you have to start being more human. Okay. If you accidentally trigger someone, say, I didn't realize that would trigger you. I'm sorry. Can I support you? How can I support you? Be willing to listen. Sometimes people just need to be heard. Sometimes it ain't always about your experience on the same topic of situations. And I've been in situations like this too. You going through something difficult, you explaining, and I had to do this, that, and the other. Man, I done did that, man. I done did this, that ain't nothing, man. I done did this. Man, I even had this happen. This is this. Bro, we ain't talking about what happened to you. We talking about what happened to me. I'm going through something. You making it seem like it ain't nothing because you've been through worse. I ain't talking about your situation. We talking about my situation. I came to you about me. Now you minimalizing my situation. And that makes me feel worse than when I first came to you and decided to open up talking to you. Okay, you got to realize that you can't you can't shut somebody out. Sometimes people do just need to be heard. They don't need advice. They don't need you to fix it. They just need you to hear them. They need you to listen. So be willing to set your boundaries. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help someone if you're drowning. Set your boundaries, okay? Take care of yourself. Excuse me. That's not selfish, that's necessary. Taking care of yourself. There shouldn't even be a question on that. So when you create safety for other survivors, you're creating a safe space for that healing, and that's powerful. So here's what I want you all to take away from this. Survivor to survivor interactions are very complex. You're both carrying wounds. You're both in protective mode, and that's okay. But when you understand about each other, everything changes for the better. Okay. You can show up with compassion instead of judgment. You can communicate instead of assume. You can create safety instead of harm. If you're interacting with someone and things feel off, pause, hold up, ask yourself, could they be a survivor too? Could their behavior be a trauma response? Hmm. And if you're a survivor, be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best you can, and that's enough. Okay, join us Tuesday on Terror to Triumph, live on Facebook and YouTube at Terror to Triumph live on our YouTube channel at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing interactive Q&A sessions. You can ask questions, share your experiences, and connect with us in this community. Excuse me again for the sniffles. Uh, while you're at it, after the show is over, you have some free time, head on over to www.peltsemporium.com, okay? Uh, you can watch the live there. Support, well, the live's not really active there. We're still dealing with some technical difficulties, but you can catch the podcast off that site once you become a member on the site. You have to be a site member to have access to that. And now we have groups on Pelts Emporium. So you can go and sign up and talk to other survivors there. We're creating a community. Remember, this is all about creating a community of survivors, people who can share stories and talk and open up about their traumas and learn how to deal and cope with them. What works for one person, what works for another person, and build up a system of helping each other. We're not alone. We are not alone. We are out here in the billions, okay? With a B, B, not M, B. I'm talking about globally. Here in America, we here in the millions, all right, in the hundreds of millions survivors. Yeah, I always say this statistic because this statistic is so mind blowing. Out of every 10 people, 4 to 6 of them have suffered some form of childhood trauma, sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, the 4 horsemen. One of those have touched a child. 4 out of 6 from, 4 to 6 out of 10 people, Americans. Okay. You got 1 million Americans. That's 400,000 to 600,000 people. And the statistic went further to say that number might be diminished because most victims do not report their victimization. So the number is higher than that, actually, folks. This is why we're here. Okay. So Uh, remember, head on over to Pelts Emporium, peruse. If you want to support the podcast, buy some merchandise there. Uh, Merchandise items off the Pelts Emporium outside of Crystal Corner goes to help support this platform. So please go in if you choose to support. Go get some nice merchandise. There's some nice stuff there, and you can buy some stuff and show your support to other people and let them know that, hey, I watched this guy. He's trying to help people who survive childhood trauma talk about it, get their issues worked out, and find ways to cope and learn how to go find a therapist, blah, blah, blah. But this is what we do. This is the job. This is the work that we do. Nobody's told us we have to do this. This is out of our own volition, not voluntarily. This is a drive. This a heart spirit felt drive. I felt compelled to do this. So help me help you. You want to support the show? I'm not asking you to donate money, even though if you want to, you can just donate. But I want to give back to the people who want to support the show. Buy some merchandise. You can support the show that way. And then have something to show that you did something. You have something now that says, okay, it wasn't just a loss of my finances. I actually have something, to show my support. Okay. So I'm Alfonso Pelt. This is Terror to Triumph. I thank you for being here. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing on all our platforms. We're on most major podcast platforms. uh iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Outcast, Overcast rather, uh FM Player, um We're on a lot of stuff. Spotify, we're on YouTube podcast. Yeah, we're on a lot of stuff. So go check us out. Uh, we broadcast Saturdays with our info sessions, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays is our Q&A sessions, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, here's the thing that I wanted to bring to you guys for your attention. Now, yes, I'm almost at an hour now, but I couldn't stop. I had to give out all that information. So here's the thing about the podcast. I notice people can they want to digest in little pieces. Little pieces. You guys like little bitty pieces. Like, give me a little bit here. Give me a little bit there. Give me a little bit over here. Give me a little bit over here. I want a little bit over here. Okay. So if I give you smaller tidbits of this show, would that be more effective for you as a person? Like the information that I gave out to you today, would you like for me to give you to you in like 5 minute increments? Say like I would have to break down today's episode into 4 episodes. Four to well shoot, we went over. That was a half hour and five. So 30 minutes divided by five is six. That's 6 episodes. So if I doled this out through 6 episodes, would you guys be more willing to digest that? Would you pay attention? Would you watch the entirety of that live stream for 5 minutes of the live stream? Or would it be something where you say, and I would rather have the 30 minute, or would you like to shorten it to a 15 minute, have 3 podcasts a week, 2 15 minutes and a half hour? I don't know. But I'm asking you guys because this is what I see. People like smaller, faster, more concise information doled out to them quickly. Uh, they pay more attention. Their attention span isn't that long. It seems to stay on the topic. So this is a heavy topic. I don't want to just throw something out there and be gone. I want to give you a chance to sit back and say, maybe I want to ask them about something about this later or whatever. So you guys let me know. Let me know what you think. And I will be looking and checking all the Facebook comments. I will be looking at the YouTube comments, and I will be going on Terror, the number two, Triumph at gmail.com to see if you guys sent me anything to comment about the show, what you would like, shorter or keep the format the same, 2 30-minute shows. So I know I said 30-minute shows. We haven't done 2 30-minute shows. It's always been over. But I'm trying to break away from the 1 hour because we always have a lot of information. But this is like a Q&A right now. So I need you guys to chime in and let me know what you think. If you're downloading the show, let me know if you want to download smaller portions. What would be the size that you would like for the information that we're giving now? You have to keep that in mind too. Okay? All right. I hope y'all have a blessed rest of your week. Check out pelsemporium.com. Remember, we're on twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays, both 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can check us out on YouTube at our channel, Terror to Triumph Live, and on Facebook at my personal page, Alfonso Pelt. As you can see, my name right there, bam. And it's right there. Bam. But that just says Alfonso over there. You have to check that one out on that side. That's my name on Facebook. Anyway, so you guys do that. Do me a favor and go check all that stuff out. And if you like it, help us keep the conversations going. All right. Y'all have a blessed week. And thank you, Michelle, for saying that. And you like this because it's easier to judge us than 30-minute shows? Okay, I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for that. I hope everybody else chimes in. I know I have to give about a week or two. to download the shows or whatever so that I can get an answer to it. But I thank you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for coming. I hope this show helps you. If it does, please send a comment or anything to our Facebook page, to our YouTube page, or to Terror to Triumph, Terror the number two Triumph at gmail.com, and let us know what you think. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time.